All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Chip Dodd.
No introduction. Hi guys. Once again, I'm very happy to be here at Hatch, and I just absolutely love entrepreneurship, being an entrepreneur, helping entrepreneurs, and so anytime I get a chance to share my experiences through my career, especially with anybody who's trying to start their own company or take their company to the next level, I jump at that opportunity. So I'm going to start off first with kind of who I am, because it drives me crazy when somebody comes in and they always say what I do. Like, I'm an accountant, I'm a banker, I'm this or that. I'm like, what you do is that's making a living. I am a skateboarder, I'm a rock climber, I'm a mountain biker, camper, anything outdoors where you can get your adrenaline going and you have about an 80% chance of surviving without any serious injury. I'm interested, especially if it's affordable. For example, I just got in my cargo van this summer and I drove from Virginia Beach all the way to San Francisco and back, and we didn't get one hotel room. We had to hustle a few showers either in lakes or rivers. I built this little thing on top of the van. We basically stealth camped all the way across country and back. Stealth meaning we camped anywhere we wanted, when we wanted. We didn't pay a dime, under the radar in a cargo van looking like your average plumber. Now, I know it sounds creepy, but when you live a life of adventure, you need an adventure platform, okay? That gives you an idea of who I am. Now, obviously, to do these types of fun things, you have to make a little bit of income. And so what you guys have me here today is to talk a little bit about how to make my income. And the other thing is, and hopefully with intent to help you guys eventually have your company and create some income so you can live and live the lifestyle you want, be the person you want to be. The other thing is, I am basically sharing with you my experience and my beliefs. I'm not telling you how you should run your company. I'm not telling you how you should think about the world. I'm going to explain to you how I do. And I'm going to tell you it's worked for me, and I love my life, and I love my company. I love the employees that share their careers and trust that we are the right place for them to make the world around them a better place. So officially, I own a company called Support Services of Virginia. We are a human services company. Basically, we provide community-based services to people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So what that means is Medicaid has money to take care of people with disabilities, and they can choose government, they can choose nonprofit, they can choose for-profit, okay? We are a for-profit, but I consider ourselves a mission-based for-profit, which means we're not just about the money. We're about the mission. We're about how do we best take the limited resources Medicaid gives us and produce the best result and better the lives of people with disabilities. So that very quickly, especially in a tech kind of world, like, oh my gosh, another warm fuzzy. Well, let me tell you, running a human services company is extremely difficult and extremely complicated. And the experiences of anybody in this field directly applies to almost any other type of field. Because at the end of the day, I kid around, my last time I was here, I kind of quoted, I just keep the stadium open so other people play the game. I am not a human services person. I got into this field because my mom, this is the worst type of raise you can ever get or promotion, is when your mom calls and says, I'm dying, cancer's going to get me. You can come and run this company and learn it from me, or you can wait till I die and you can get it in the will. Either way, you're president. How you like that? Oh, and by the way, it's also going out of business. Great. Okay, so that was 2003 when I got that phone call, and so since then I'm glad I did it. The ship didn't go down. It was really close. We did hit a few icebergs along the way, but we made it. I look at myself as an entrepreneur. That's my job. My job is to keep the company open so that both the people with disabilities live the best life possible, and I can keep the careers and the jobs of the people who have made it their mission in life to help people. Okay, so that's my job, is to keep that open and keep that going. So I'm going to go through real quick before I get into the content, which eventually I'm going to talk about benevolent acquisitions, which if you try to Google anything related to that, you're not going to find it, because I've tried. I was trying to steal some content from other people, and it was impossible. It's not there. So we're going to get into that in a second. But first, this is going to be a really odd presentation. And my friend Bill here he was like, what are you talking about? Like, I mean, this guy knows financial stuff. He's watching the market every day. He listens to acquisitions every day on whatever news station he's picking up this financial news. And he's going, what the heck is a benevolent acquisition? Sounds like an oxymoron. But let me start off with my general beliefs in life, okay? Because then the rest of my presentation will kind of make more sense to you. One is, happiness, in my opinion, is not money and what you can buy with it. It's are you living the life you want to live, doing the things you want to do, when you want to do them, with the people you want to do it with? Happiness. right? Doesn't matter if you're wealthy or poor. You can be totally homeless and having the time of your life if you live in the right area. It's a tropical environment. So I'm also a minimalist, where I don't want stuff unless it either brings value to my life or serves some sort of purpose. And so, of course, you might keep your high school yearbook. But on the other hand, I'm not accumulating junk. I'm actually trying to get rid of it as much as I can, because junk, especially things that are alive, make you not able to do things like get in a cargo van and drive across the country for 3 weeks. Wealth I would say wealth is a lot like leadership. It's one of those things, basically, it's a responsibility, it's a burden, and you have to earn it. It's not something it's just given to you, because if your mom and dad drop a ton of money on you, more than likely you will fail, you will go bankrupt, and it will ruin your life. Money's terrible, wealth's terrible, unless you consider it like it's a responsibility that you have to manage it better, so that whoever you give it to, whether it be kids, family, nonprofits, whoever, you have that responsibility. And I take that very seriously. I'm very internally motivated, not externally. I don't care what other people think. I do what I want to do based on logic and reason, based on my experiences. A little bit different. I love risk, but I love calculated risk. Okay, so yes, I rock climb. Yes, I just rode Porcupine Trail in Moab, and it was extremely dangerous. I actually posted something on YouTube, by the way. But I do calculated risk. Okay, it's fun, it's adrenaline, but especially in a company when you've got 200. In my situation, I have over 200 employees with 75 contractors relying on me not to screw up. That's risk. I do not take that lightly. If those people become unemployed, it's my fault. I take responsibility for that. I believe in just generally you should do good in the world, and you can define good however you are. But basically, I'm going to sleep at night and I'm going to think I bettered the world around me in some way. That's just my fundamental. I do not want to rip somebody off. I don't want to make money at somebody else's loss. Just that Boy Scout. I used to work for the Boy Scouts, by the way, if you haven't noticed. I absolutely love entrepreneurship. I think it is what built America. It's what's going to save America. I think any nation, if they can build a culture of entrepreneurship and the way entrepreneurs think, they will solve problems. You allow somebody to make money solving a problem, and it'll get solved. You want a government to solve a problem? Good luck with that. You want a nonprofit to solve a problem? Good luck with that, in my opinion. You take an entrepreneur who will lose everything if they fail. They lose their house. They sign over the loan on the bank comes, takes everything. You lose your marriage, you lose your family. I mean, just when you have everything at stake, you are motivated to solve a problem. And there is no other, you can be the CEO of a big bank, and guess what? You clock out, go home when you screw up, right? And not even go to jail, apparently, in America. When you are an entrepreneur, and the people who choose this lifestyle of high risk with high reward, hopefully, I believe they're the right person to solve our world's problems, regardless if it's a human services problem or if it's a tech problem, whatever. So I'm glad that's why I love coming here, because you guys that have that mindset are the exact people who I want to associate with. You're not victims. You're not entitled. You're going to make your own way. You're going to make it the way you want, and you are going to overcome hardship. And I absolutely love that about entrepreneurship. Amen. Amen. My personal mission statement, which also happens to be the company mission statement, which I was kind of surprised that I adopted, went through some introspection. And so my personal mission statement ended up being realize success by helping others realize theirs. Okay, so I'm going to be successful by helping others become successful. Now, don't think this is charity. I'm not giving anybody anything. I'm giving you the ability to earn it. I'm going to teach you and lead you. But the idea is there's success. You got to carry your own bags with success. And you might just need to realize the success you've already had and appreciate the things you already have. But either way, everything I do with both the company and my personal life is trying to help others realize their success. Meanwhile, I'm somehow making a living doing it. Nice and fair, right? Okay, now let's get an acquisition. I just want to give you that background because that's a little weird. You don't have many business people saying that type of thing. I just want to make sure you know. Let's get into the boring stuff on acquisitions. I'm not sure if anybody's been through one, tried one, or whatever. And one is also, even if you don't care about acquisitions at any point throughout this whole presentation, I am hoping that the general principles that I'm using to do acquisitions, or will be using in the future, will help you guide your business, even if it's not through acquisition. Okay, you could work for a company and take over a restaurant or take over a division of a company and use these exact same principles. You're effectively doing an acquisition. You're taking over something that's probably not working. It's your job to fix it. Okay, so these principles should help you guys with that. Let's get into the boring stuff real quick. Traditional types of acquisition, okay? And I was doing some research so I was like correct on the language. We're gonna use a DVD manufacturer, okay? So you got a manufacturer makes DVDs. So you have a horizontal acquisition, which means a DVD manufacturer buys another DVD manufacturer, increase their space, right? Pretty obvious. You see that stuff all the time. Then you have vertical acquisitions where the DVD maker says, wait a second, if we bought the plastic maker, we could make cheaper DVDs in the end. So it's vertical. The DVD maker needs plastic, might as well buy the plastic manufacturer. Okay, so that's vertical. Then you get into a little bit more interesting stuff when you do concentric, where a DVD maker buys a DVD player company, right? So DVD maker, DVD player, two different products, not the same supply chain, but very similar in nature to hit a certain sector of the market. And then you've got the conglomerate type of merger acquisition. And mergers don't really exist. It's really acquisitions, but they like to call it a merger, mostly just to spin it. Is when you do a conglomerate, it's basically a DVD maker goes and buys a toaster manufacturer. You know, it's like, whoa, like two different things, really weird, which obviously those are a little more difficult. Now, in my world, I'm in human services. I tend to want to go after other human services companies because it's something I already know how to do. I don't have to retool it. I just need them to step aside and let me take charge because I know how to run. We did. Unfortunately, we failed at it. I did recently, my most recent acquisition, tried to take over a small tech shop that was going out of business. I was using them for all of my tech support, and I did not do my homework. I didn't do the market analysis right. I really just loved the guy that worked there, and I didn't want to lose him as a tech guy. And I went into the acquisition doing exactly what you shouldn't do, which is fall in love with the transaction, saying, oh my God, this is going to be so great. Terrible business decision. Cool thing is, he still works for me. He loves his life. I love my life. We no longer have that. But either way, I went into that benevolently, saying, I want to save this guy's job, and I don't want to lose my tech guy. And so we, after a lot of money got wasted, we did that. So I've done one of those DVD versus toaster. It was a bad idea. For me, it was. You guys might be great at it. Okay, so we're going to use the whiteboard for a little bit. I want a little bit of interaction. Please interrupt me if I use any language or acronyms or something you have any questions on, but I would definitely like this to be interactive. So let's do some questions. What comes to mind when you hear the word acquisition, Microsoft's taken over so-and-so, or let's say this, if you've been in a company that's been acquired, what are some things come to mind as just either an outsider or an employee of the company? Okay, jobs, efficiency.
Is a scale.
Okay.
Value of the company.
The overall value?
The overall value.
Value, okay.
Buying intellectual property or buying
IP.
technology that they.
Yep, okay. I'll just do IP or tech. Okay. Right. So they need a patent or something. Samsung goes, oh no, we're infringing. Let's buy that company. Right. Got it. Anything else?
Expanding a market. Expanding a market, is that?
Okay. Market.
Buying talent.
Yeah. Talent's a good one.
Acquisition would change the core values.
Huh. That's an interesting one. Absolutely. Make sure I'm still in the video yet. I'm gonna do Delta. Okay. Anything else? Just want to get a feel. Yeah.
New York.
Do it now.
New York.
You think of New York.
Yeah.
Oh, because that's the financial capital of the world.
Along the lines of core values, the culture.
Yeah, and then I should have done that culture. Okay, so these are all things you think of basically when you think of normal acquisitions, and it's exactly on track. Basically, one company wants to do another company to somehow better themselves and hopefully make money, increase market share, that type of thing. Okay, so when a company is acquired, I guess I'm running out of room over here. I know we'll just go down the middle here. Just leave it up there for a second. Okay, so a company is acquired. Transaction's been done. Implementation's gone. So what actions does the acquiring company take?
They fire people.
Fire? Okay.
Fire. They interview employees.
Yeah, is that because they want to figure out the winners and losers moving forward?
Yeah.
Hopefully before they fire. Okay. So they're trying to figure out who's going to stay and who's going to go, right?
It kind of absorbs that company's identity and makes it
Yeah. Right. Okay. How do I say that?
rebranding.
B and rebrand. Okay.
They
Anybody?
drop unproductive products.
Oh yeah. Yep. Drop. or services.
Sure.
Because obviously they're going to come in. Usually a company's selling either because they're really awesome and they want to make a ton of money, or they're not doing very well and they need the help of a bigger company. So they're going to come in here and they're going to say, get rid of this product or service. We can't make our profit. We're going to focus on our core thing. GE went through that a couple times, I think. Anything else?
Talk to the customers of the company they acquired. So reach out to the customer base.
And what would they be looking for? Just to
Looking for either to strengthen that relationship or maintain that relationship. If you purchase a company, you're going to be, the new face of what those customers are seeing. So you want to build that relationship or strengthen that relationship through
Right.
change.
Because last thing you want to do is buy a book of business and then fail in the implementation. You lose a
Right.
business. And what'd you
And
buy?
lose all the customers.
Gotcha.
Or you
Okay.
consolidate your customer base. I know some companies buy other companies just for the customers, right?
And you said consolidated. Because there's a whole presentation on. There's sometimes you need to fire your customers because they're taking away. They're not doing your core value. They're stopping the company from serving the good customers better. So I could totally see consolidation in a customer space. Anything else on here? Like, what are the actions that an acquiring company tends to do? Anything? Okay. Most of these are kind of fun, and they're kind of smart. This one's the one that gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit, and that's kind of what I forgot to tell you guys. I've done a handful of one is I've gone into a number of companies and had to basically turn it around. Meaning division, like Boy Scouts, they said, okay, here's your 4 counties. It's all you. Call me if you have any questions, and we'll have a Monday meeting every once in a while. See, but other than that, you're on your own. No training, no nothing. I mean, a little bit of training, but you're basically on your own. Restaurants and bar and grills had to turn those around because the owner, let's just say, wasn't doing very well. And then, and of course, I came in and took over this company, flipped it, and then not flipped it, but got it successful. And also, while in the human services world, we did an acquisition back in 2010. And I learned a lot from that. We also, at one time, in our those of you who heard me speak before, the topic was like worst decisions I've ever made. And so we went through some of our hard times. I've also thought at one point, the other owner and I, the majority owner, the minority owner, we both thought maybe we will be better off if we try to become acquired, because at that time, we were way behind on technology. We needed better accounting. We needed better metrics and analytics. We needed all those cool things big companies have. And in my world, there are publicly traded, huge companies. Some are like $750 billion, like crazy huge companies that'll come in here and gobble us up if you're within their range, usually starting about 5 million gross revenue all the way up to 15 or 20, depending on their size, of course. You don't want to, snake swallowing an elephant. But so I've done that acquisition before. So let's get into, before I tell you my experience, let's get into, I want to hear kind of y'all's experience. Let's say one of the big things was firing, or layoffs is another way to put that. Good employees that are productive just gotta go, right? That's firing usually is based on corrective action. You were held to a thing, you're held accountable, you didn't do your job, you need to go, but you've been given training, some warnings, you still messed up. Layoff is, sorry, we're shutting it down, buddy. Pack your bags. Here's $100. You need to get out of here today. Let's say you were in that situation, or if you've never been in that situation, imagine what's going to happen in the life of that employee when they come home and they got their box of crap from their cube. What's going to start happening in their life?
A lot of changes.
Change. Okay.
Lack of security.
It's like, despair type deal.
Right. Despair.
That comes back to family security too.
Might have to move.
No money. Oh, yep. Move. Somebody said spouse. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got to go, right? I mean, or she's gonna go because I'm broke, right?
That should go in the same line with no money.
Right.
No money, spouse has got to go.
Best case
Let's just say divorce. That'll say basically the relationship didn't work. It could be boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. But unemployed, it might be harder to keep your significant other.
So those are all kind of negative. There's got to be.
So what's the positive? Right. What's the positive?
Get a better job.
Maybe.
Trust
Okay.
yourself. Start a business.
Or new opportunities.
Learn not to depend on someone else.
Ah, yeah. Good start from
Self-reliance.
Maybe I can open up your creativity too.
Okay.
embrace risk.
Not very good at spelling and writing, by the way. There's no spell check on this thing. So.
Actually learn who you are.
Oh, you actually learn who you are, right?
Yeah, on the business.
Because you are no longer an accountant at the accounting firm. You're now on your own. Yeah. So it's can I do self-awareness?
Self-awareness increases, yeah.
Self-awareness, good. So it was good to bring up the positive there. Are. What was it?
Soul searching.
Soul searching. Okay, yeah. Ellie.
No, S-O-U-L. For shoe.
I'm not very religious if you didn't notice.
You know, I have shoes in my.
I was going, so Ellie, so oops, busted. Okay, so when I was both doing an acquisition and thinking about being acquired, and even on company turnarounds, you're always faced with, you are the leader, and you might cause a lot of this bad stuff to happen to somebody's life. It's you are doing it. Or you're the person who tells your manager, you got to pick 10 people, they got to go. You got to vote them off the island. I don't know about you, that made me feel just viscerally disgusted that I'm going to be the guy that's going to do a layoff. Some people might get off on it and say, oh, this is awesome. No, I'm just firing. I've already got him. Rank and yank. What was it? That was, what's his GE dude? Jack Welch, rank and yank, right? He said it a much nicer way, but that's the it would be really cool. And I believe the true entrepreneurs, 1 out of the 10, are going to think, you know what? I hated that damn job. It was holding me back. Finally, it gave me the kick in the pants to go, grow up, go do my own thing. I've been wanting to start this company all along. I've got this little 401k. I'm going to empty that and go, risk it all and become an entrepreneur and do what I want when I want with people I want to do it with. Awesome. 90% of the others are probably going to be despair, doubt, lose their house, lose their job, lose their car, maybe end up in 2 or 3 jobs that are part-time because in this labor market, nobody wants to give you benefits because it's expensive. So it's extremely disruptive. So when I came up with the idea of benevolent acquisition, I basically want to say I never want to have to make that decision. I never want to have to ask somebody else to make the decision. And to this day, we've never, ever laid off an employee, ever, even though we've been through 3 economic crises in my field. And again, I did the other presentation. I mean, they were really bad. We were going to risk it all, and we did it without laying off anybody. I'm not saying poor performers don't get fired. I'm saying good employees believe in your mission. You just let them go because you can't afford their pay. I describe it. Anybody see the movie Schindler's List? Remember that? That was a long time ago. Schindler's in a situation he had to kind of pick the people who were going to live and had to leave everybody else, and he had to kind of pick through that. When I was looking at other companies coming and acquiring us, that's one thing. It didn't matter if they're for-profit or non-profit. They always asked, we need the list of people who you want to basically, in their words, protect. Who are the Mrs. Johnsons that have been with the company forever, and she's got 3 kids, and she's dying of cancer, and we can't let her go. Every company gave me the question, you're going to have to give us your list. I was in Schindler's situation. I had to pick out of my 200 awesome employees, which ones, the hand fight, I could only do like 10. Which ones am I going to protect so that the new company coming in cannot fire them for some period of time by contract? Imagine going through that. Doesn't it just disgust you that you're going to have to, you might have 100 of the 200, you personally know, you know their kids, they've been with you forever, and you got to only protect 10. I hated it. Just absolutely hated it, and I won't do it. That's one of the reasons I'm like, I will never sell unless I'm completely on a burning platform. It's the only option I have to save the jobs of the people. Okay, so let's get into a couple other things. Let's get on to more positive stuff. I want to give you that emotional kind of, this is why I really don't like acquisitions, traditional acquisitions, and why I've come up with an alternative. Let's get into some fun stuff. Baby boomers. You guys right now are at the exact right place at the exact right time. Baby boomers are retiring. They're a generation of entrepreneurs, according to the statistics on the Pew Research. 66% of all businesses with employees are baby boomers. 66%. This one blew my mind, and I knew it was big. I didn't know it was this big. Starting in January 1st, 2011, 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every day for the subsequent 19 years. every day, 10,000 business owners, 66% of which are business owners, are turning 65. And I'm gonna make the assumption people kind of like to retire right around age 65, depending on their whatever. What that means is 65% to 75% of all companies are going to go on sale over the next 5 to 10 years. On sale. They are going to sell. They have to sell. You can't go forever. Eventually, with what happened to my mom, she wanted to go on forever. Guess what? Ovarian cancer changed her perspective. She ran it all the way until she could barely keep her head up, body armor, all the medication, sleeping at the desk, not doing nothing, but she was at that desk within 3 weeks of her death. That's not exactly the way you want to do succession planning. Okay, just trust me, it's not fun. So you guys are sitting here, hopefully listening to people like me, learning from our experiences, trying to become an entrepreneur exactly when the majority of companies are about to go on sale all at the same time, meaning that the price is low. And they have a time crunch. I've got to do it because I just got diagnosed with XYZ thing that's really going to be a pain in the ass. Okay, you see what I'm getting at? You guys have this amazing opportunity. How do you think, let's do another little, this is fun. I like the whiteboard stuff. I saw somebody else do it and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing whiteboard. Maybe if you guys hate it, tell me and I won't do it. All right, so let's do some more interaction. Imagine yourself as a baby boomer and you need to sell your company because of whatever. You want to go to the Bahamas for the rest of your life. Hell with this, I'm tired of being on the treadmill. What are the ways that they would do it? Or you would do it if you had a company?
Publicly sell? Like just.
Publicly sell?
Like
You mean like Craigslist? IPO? Gotta be big to do IPO. That's cool though. Okay. I know, I like it all. So IPO.
Mentor, find someone who aligns with you.
What do you call it? Protege. Protege, yeah.
Or key employee.
Family member.
A protege, family, employees.
So
I'm going to do S, employee or employees, meaning ESOP, employee stock option program. You can do that kind of thing.
Here's your key employee.
Okay, silly question.
Or key employee, yes.
What's IPO?
He knows. Publicly, it's when you go public.
Initial public.
Initial public offering, you go public now, like Facebook. They did their IPO. It's no longer Zuckerberg. Now it's all of us who were dumb enough to buy their stock when they went public.
You can sell it to a competitor.
Yes, you could sell it, right?
Get a business broker.
To sell, but you're right. Yeah, broker.
Shut it down.
You could totally close it.
Liquidate it, sure.
There's one other one. I wrote down a couple ideas that you guys got all of them but one.
Will auction be considered IPO?
No. IPO means you're on the stock market. You got to be pretty big. A little company like mine, they'd go, I couldn't afford the attorney just to try to pull it off.
Could you hire someone to run it for you?
You absolutely could. You could stay the owner and pay somebody else. So I don't know what we call that. Hire CEO. What was the other one?
Turn it into a foundation.
You could flip it to nonprofit. I've been offered that a couple times. And you would need then to hire, or the nonprofit would have a board, the board would hire a director, and they would run it, and you can walk off and say, look at my legacy. And they're cool. I built this, and I gave it back to society. I like it. Still one more. Almost happened with my mom.
We can just shut it down.
But we got that one. Nah, the court gets it. Probate. Owner dies. Oops. No succession plan. What happens, right? Bankrupt, court, all this. The kids start fighting. They want their money. It's got to liquidate, fire sale, auction. Probably the worst way to go through it because once the court gets it, I mean, they didn't earn it by any means. Okay, so these are all some things that is going through baby boomers' heads, right? And they might have family, might have mentors, all of this. And hopefully a good entrepreneur has a succession plan. Even somebody who's young and at rock climb, I could be like dead tomorrow if I did play my cards right. So it doesn't matter your age, you should always have a succession plan. And luckily in larger companies, you can kind of do that. And in smaller companies, when it's just you on the treadmill, you're the one making the good or service, that's a little different. You might have to totally shut it down or whatever.
Is that similar to, could you say that's also an exit plan? Is that the same thing?
Yes, absolutely. Right. They're going to exit at some point. All of us exit at some point, right? So the question is, do you manage your exit so that basically what you've built carries on? Or you mismanage your exit, let the court get it, or have to fire sale it. and meanwhile hurting all the employees that have been there to help you through it. Okay, so then out of these baby boomers, like I said, there are 10,000 a day, 66% of those 10,000 own a business. Is it safe to say some percentage of those baby boomers care about their employees or care about their company, care about the mission that they built that company to solve, the problem that they're trying to solve? Make sense? They care. I would hope. Pretty optimistic. I think generally people are pretty good. I think a lot of these baby boomers care. They do not want a fire sale. They don't want to wait till the last minute and go to the court. They might not be reality. My mom was not in reality thinking, I need to do a quality succession plan. She truly waited till the last minute. Some portion of these people care, which again, I'm bringing this back to your opportunity. If you agree with my general premise on this.
So you bring up a good point that made me think about something, right? So if 60% of baby boomers tend to be more entrepreneurial and more, let's say, capitalist, but a lot of younger people, capitalist isn't a good word.
Correct.
And a lot more of them don't want to do, is there a mismatch? Because there's a lot of people who are, let's call it 30s and 40s, but they're not really capitalists. They're more on the socialist side.
Absolutely.
So how does that figure into the mix? Because I think there's a different priority between the two.
Totally
generations,
priority.
You know what I mean?
I'm going to give you my belief.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm not going to tell you how you should think. There are merits to socialism. There's merits to capitalism. There's bad capitalism. And there's bad socialists. I think back in the 40s there was one. I can't remember. So my personal perspective is, I think using science, math, physics, and biology. I think those are the laws that govern our world.
Agreed.
If you do not, there are some that don't believe in, like, say, evolution, like that one creature turns into another over millions and thousands of years. One could say, let's introduce a squirrel onto an island to take care of the bug that's causing problems, right? But you're messing with nature, and eventually nature's going to correct it and say, that squirrel wasn't supposed to be on that island. Maybe the squirrels procreate and nothing eats them. And so I believe capitalism is nature manifested in our world, right? Because we don't have survival of the fittest anymore, other than in business.
Sure.
Okay, so, and I also tend to be optimistic. So to answer your question, I would think the more socialists out there, the better. Okay, because that leaves you an opportunity
Absolutely.
to be the capitalist who truly can come in and solve the problem. Socialists don't solve problems.
Agreed.
They need capitalists. Haven't you ever read Atlas Shrugged? So I strongly believe that personally. Okay, and I hope I don't offend anybody. Okay, it's just, I believe capitalism is the manifestation of nature's laws in the world, in business. And if you let somebody make money solving the problem, you will get your problem solved. If a government tries to solve it, it's probably not going to get solved. Capitalism's just better at that. I'm not saying capitalism is perfect by any means. There's a lot of corrupt, nasty people out there. But obviously, if you follow this type of strategy, you let all that noise on the outside and you run the company the way you want to run it so you sleep at night. Okay, that'd be my recommendation. So I would say capitalism is a lot like a nuclear technology. It can do good, it can do a lot of bad. Okay, it's up to you how you want to use the nuclear technology. Make sense? Hope I answered your question.
You did. I just think that's a concern.
It is. Well, is it a concern for you personally or a concern for America?
It's a concern for America, opportunity for you personally.
Right. Exactly. I tend to agree with you. You're right. We have not created a culture of entrepreneurs in America. I believe we created a culture of victimization and entitlement, which happens in most socialist countries like ours. Personal opinion. So I agree with you. It's a problem, but folks like Zach that create Hatch in the middle of a community and say, let's get like-minded people together to solve the world's problems using traditional capitalism without government intervention. Applaud each one of you for sitting here. So I don't want to get on a political thing. You can see I'm taking the bait, man. Okay, so okay, not here for editorialism. Okay, so let's go back to the fun stuff. Baby boomers are exiting. We tended to agree a handful of these folks care about their employees. They care about the mission. They want their legacy. Let's call it their legacy to live on. If you, as the benevolently minded acquirer, come in and are able to talk to that entrepreneur about exiting, and the next person comes in saying, We're going to give you a bunch of money, but we're going to lay them off. Give me your Schindler's List. We're going to take technology, disrupt this place, get rid of half your people. We're going to make a ton of money, and we're willing to give you half. Do you think some of the entrepreneurs say, I'm going to go with you. You're going to take care of my people. And yeah, you're going to use technology, but you're going to protect the people and the mission that I did. If I was selling, and especially if I was wealthy and didn't necessarily need all the money, I would sell it to one of you at a discount versus some big, mean corporate capitalism that's just about the money. They're going to package it together with 5 other companies just like mine and sell it, pump it and dump it. That's what VCs do. That's what the world does. It makes me sick, and I don't want to participate. So my hope is, especially in the human services field, because we're all kind of mushy, warm fuzzies, is that some handful of entrepreneurs out there in my field are going to exit, and they're going to find my benevolent acquisition strategy, which I'm going to get into in a second. I still got 28 minutes. And they're going to say, I want to sell to Chip because I know Chip's going to take care of my people. Okay, does that make sense? This is going to be competitive. Everybody's going to be dumping their companies. Some of them are going to want max dollars, but you don't want to deal with them. They're not minded like you. They're not within your alignment on your mission and values. So I'm trying to, how do I identify those people who are in alignment? Okay, let's get into the true content of why I'm here. Okay. Does everybody here either own their company or want to own their own company? Pretty much everybody. That's why you're here, right? Obviously, as you've probably learned, it's hard to start your own company. Some would argue that the reason you're starting your own is because you don't have the cash to go buy one. Either way, acquisition is a fascinating way to get a company because somebody's already done the hard work. You just come in there and run it better, quicker, faster, more streamlined than they did. But I would first say before you get into acquisition, developing your own acquisition strategy, and this could be down the road after you started your company just to grow. Clearly identify why you want to do acquisitions, right? Is it growth? Is it get into another market? I mean, all the traditional stuff. You can go online and learn why do you want to do an acquisition all day long. But you do need to do that first. Don't just buy something because it's there and it's shiny. Because that's what entrepreneurs do, by the way, this shiny stuff. It's distracting. Then you want to get into what's the specific size company, the type of company, the market, all of that stuff. Again, I'm not going to get into it. That's out of the scope. But definitely know what you're doing and why you're doing it. Right? When you go buy a car, do you buy a pickup truck or a sports car? Well, it depends. You got kids or you got manure to haul around. I mean, maybe minivan's better. So the same thing goes with a company. Why are you buying it? Buy the exact right company, the right price that solves your problem. This is where I kind of messed up, although I made it through it. I had no idea what administrative burden was going to be to integrate one company into another. We as entrepreneurs are fascinated with the sale. Let's do the documents, and am I going to get a good deal? And oh, this is going to be so awesome. I'm going to have done an acquisition. I can check that off of my belt. I'm cool. Then you do it, and then you realize, oh, it's like getting married. It's fun until the honeymoon's over. And it's like, now it's work, and it's hard work. Now you've got this company. In my situation, it's 75 employees, 4 hours away. I had to figure out how do I integrate them with my current company. My whole admin had to get involved. Of course, getting distracted away from the stuff I needed them doing. So just doing the acquisition could have cost me everything. Because I really, until you do one, you have no idea what you're going into. But it's not about the sale. It's all about the implementation. And that is a 3-year commitment minimum to get it truly where that's now just part of your company. Just don't get distracted by the shiny stuff. There's work to be done after it gets done. And not only by you, but by your entire team. Before you think about doing an acquisition, your job as an entrepreneur is to develop your systems and processes to the point where anybody can come in and follow the checklist, watch the video. You want it completely automated. I'm in the middle of doing this. I'm telling you this because I've screwed up in the past. This is what you're hearing is my personal acquisition strategy moving forward based on all of the errors I've made in the past. This is not, I didn't write a book or nothing. This is truly what I'm thinking right now. In my field, there's going to be a bloodbath because managed care is going to come in. Instead of the government doing it, it's going to be Anthem or WellPoint. It's going to be a bloodbath. They do not want 800 mom and pop providers. They want about 100 that know what they're doing. I don't want to get washed out. I want to have the lifeboats available for the nice entrepreneur that cares about their employees that's going to give me their company at a discount. See how that works? Okay. So automate your systems and processes. So when you go, you don't have to send people to do training and all of that. You basically have the system already developed. Now this would be in the horizontal thing. You already know what you're doing. You're just going to do it more over there. Develop the systems and processes. Have them on lockdown. Don't be creating policies like on the fly. That caused us probably 6 months of just wasted time and effort and frustration. The other thing that you want to really consider when doing an acquisition is you can't do everything yourself. Don't solve all the problems. You really think about the military has the term storming, norming, conforming. And the better way to put that from a Steve Jobs standpoint, like you need the visionary that's like, oh, we all need tablets. What else? Tablet. Somebody else goes and designs and creates the tablet, right? Like the creative person, think developing systems and processes. And then you need the person that's actually going to like go out there and sell it. Just follow a checklist. This is what you do. This is how you sell it. It's how many you need to sell to make your targets. So storming, norming, conforming. When doing an acquisition, you, the CEO, are probably, wow, I need to buy this company. It's the right place at the right time. And in 5 years, I'm going to be better off for it. But you'd better have somebody there that's going to actually do the work of the implementation. You can help with it, but it's just two different mentalities. Developing system and processes, there are certain people that are wired for that, and there are certain people that are not. Okay, I can do it. And again, this is all a continuum. You kind of have 3 levels on each one. I can do the systems and processes. I'd rather not. I like the shiny stuff, the visionary stuff. The other thing you need is a lot of people who are willing to just follow the system you've given them. Just show me the checklist. I'll do my job. Let me know when I'm done. Hold me accountable. Tell me when I win. Give me a gold star when I win. There's a lot of people that just want that. That's okay. All 3 of those types of people are extremely necessary, especially when doing an acquisition. So you got to know who those people are so that when you go to do the acquisition, they're all in the right place at the right time, right? Aces in their places is one of the things we used to say at McDonald's. Make sure you don't have any storms on the horizon. You know, don't get into an acquisition unless you pretty much know the next 2 or 3 years your life is going to continue the way it currently is, right? And my thing, managed care is coming. Waiver reform's coming. I'm not doing anything other than battening down the hatches, trying to pay down debt, be a financial fortress basically, and be ready for acquisitions because there's going to be a lot of people getting hurt. When companies go out of business, especially if they do it the probate way, especially, I mean, you're talking about people with disabilities who can't even use the bathroom without help. And then all of a sudden their staff don't come to work because they didn't make payroll. People get hurt. And I want to be there to do my part to help clean up that mess. Do you have the cash? And what I mean by that is do your best not to use other people's money. Using other people's money is fun in most things. But when you go down to a benevolent acquisition strategy, usually when somebody else gives you money, they want return on that investment, right? VCs want return. They don't want your saving the world stuff, right? So I would recommend not using debt and not using other people's money. That way you can make the decision based on your values and the mission of your company. Okay, so what the heck is a benevolent acquisition? It's the #1 goal of a benevolent acquisition is, will the lives of the customers and the employees on the other side of the transaction be bettered by the transaction? Okay, can you better the life of the employee or the customer and the customer, both? If you can't do that, don't even go to step 2. Don't do it. In my world, I don't want a company that I can't help. I don't want to lay people off. I don't want to streamline things so that customers have to do an automated service. I want their lives to improve after I've entered their life. #1. #2, will it help the existing companies satisfy their mission better than it does today? So adding them to me makes the overall better to go after the mission that we're interested in doing, which in my world is help people with disabilities and helping the people who support people with disabilities as their career. Those are my 2 roles. The third one is, does the new company match the existing company's culture? You got a couple of you guys talked about culture. That I can't stress how important that is. And it seems, I mean, all of us are used to the culture and the core values on the wall, leadership and character, and all the other boilerplate bull crap. End of the day, they're laying people off. You know, good character guy, you know. Character's fun until you're not making money. Most of you guys know I'm in EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. And when I first got involved in EO, I thought it was going to be about the money. You would not believe how much training and how the importance of culture, mission, and values and character are just intertwined with everything that happens at EO. Even if you're talking about acquisitions, they're talking about culture. You have a bad culture in your company, it's toxic, and you probably are not going to do well. And that's another reason why you do benevolent acquisitions. Because how do you maintain a good culture? You take care of your people. They take care of you. It's easy, right? #4, and eventually, we had to get to money at some point. I'm definitely not saying do it at a loss. This is not charity. You are doing it to better yourself. You are doing it to create wealth or prosperity or whatever you want and however you want to do it. I would just say the way I would value it, the transaction, is basically within 3 to 5 years, can I get a net positive financial return? And it might be in assets, it might be in cash flow, it might be making me more efficient, but it's going to take a while. Don't think you're going to buy a company and all of a sudden, poof, it's going to be making money. I made that mistake with the PC shop. So look at it, basically think of it like a car payment or even a mortgage. A car payment's easier because I'm talking 3 to 5 years. When you finance a car, you look at the interest and the principal, and all you're just paying interest, right? I mean, it's like the whole thing. You got $10 to principal, $500 to interest. That's the way loans work. That's why banks win in the end. As you get closer to paying off your car, you're paying down more principal and less interest, right? Because you're borrowing less money, right? The acquisitions are the same way. Up front, it's going to be a huge cost, huge drain on your resources. The further out you go, the easier it gets. They're starting to accept it. The owner's gone. I'm the new guy. Here's the system and the process. Please follow it. I'll give you gold stars or whatever, and we're going to do well, and we're all going to be better at the end of this thing. Let's just get through it. Nobody likes change. I think that was the other thing. One of you guys said change was one of them. People hate change. On average, people hate change. Entrepreneurs thrive off of it. Okay, so that's effectively and it's just kind of like, if you didn't pass number 1, don't go to number 2. And if you don't pass number 2, don't go to number 3. And at the end, if all of that stuff's satisfied, all your warm fuzziness has been satisfied, can it have a positive financial impact at the end of at least 5 years? And if you can't do that, then I wouldn't do it. It's just, there's other deals out there that you should be looking at. It's not a good use for your money or resources. Now, let's say you satisfied all those things. Those are the main ones that are different than, can I just get a return on my investment, which is why most acquisitions occur. Are you in alignment with the owner? Does the owner just want maximum return? They just want the biggest check possible. In my world, I'd walk away from that transaction. All they're going to do is try to beat me down. All I'm trying to save your employees, man. You got to leave something on the table. This is going to be expensive. They're looking at the sale price. I'm looking at the 3 to 5 year implementation drain on my money and my administrative brain power, right? 2 different things. I need to be in alignment with the owner, that they realize my goal is to carry on their legacy by taking their company and giving their employees and their customers a better life on the end of the transaction. And I need them to understand that and understand I don't have tons of money. I'm in human services. Maybe we can work together, do a, I'll pay you over time based on whatever, gross revenues, whatever. But you try to work it out where you're in alignment with that owner. Because if you're not, it's hard to do a deal. I believe it'll be hard. The other thing, like with, let's say, real estate or new cars, Zombieland rule number 5, no attachments. Do not fall in love with the sale. Do not fall in love with the transaction. Walk away from it if you start getting too close, because you will make a bad decision. I've done it. You guys have probably done it. I mean, capitalism and retail loves it, right? You're at the show, I got to look at the magazine, I got to get the gum and the soda because I'm there, and spontaneous buys, and entrepreneurs are like that. Oh, good deal, let's do it. Everything's on sale. See a for sale sign. You imagine yourself, what would it be like if I bought that? Neat. No, you don't fall in love with it. No attachments. If it doesn't do those first 3 or 4 things, walk away from the transaction. Find another one. Okay, let's get into the transaction. And I do want to get into some questions, so I got to go a little bit quicker than I have been going. Traditionally, in acquisitions, you do an asset purchase. You don't buy the company. You're crazy if you buy the company, because there's usually liabilities, and they're going to come back and haunt you. Usually, you trademark the name and the logo. That way, if they can't reuse it and do all that kind of stuff, again, I'm going to skip through some of this stuff real easy. Valuations, one I want to stay on. How in the world do you know what to pay? Traditional acquisitions, it's all about EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciated, amortization. Okay. Anybody in here like an accountant or a bookkeeper or anything, know anything about QuickBooks or Peachtree or any of that? I've been fixing my company's books now for 5 years because we had an aerospace engineer doing it, which he was awesome, but that's not, accountants and aerospace engineers think different. All I would tell you is you're crazy if you think you can look at a company's 3-year tax returns and maybe some financial statements and have any idea on if past performance is going to tell you future earnings after you take it over. Nutty or no, 10-pound fruitcake. You think you can do that? And so the way I would say it is, when it comes to accounting, everybody's books are in the oven. The real question is, how cooked are they? Okay, end of the day. Okay, so I would look at it going at the cash flow, the gross revenue, and you do the research. How will it look after you take over? How are you going to perform? Don't look at their performance. They're going to be pumping and dumping. If they know they're coming up on a succession plan, they're pumping and dumping. Maximize profit, EBITDA. That's all they're looking at. So I don't even look at that. I would look at the cash flow and the business model, and I would go in there and look at that model like, can I see myself making money in 5 years while satisfying the first 3 on the mission? One of my EO buddies said, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, cash flow is king. It's Alan Mills. He's a financial guy. Cash flow is the king. Okay, profit, you could be 20% profitable 20 years straight and still go out of business. There's this other neat thing called a balance sheet and cash flow statement. Profit is not everything. And all of us entrepreneurs think profit. So that's another thing, just so you guys know, learn accounting. You don't have to do it, just know it, because it's important. Okay, I'm going to have to skip some of this stuff. I definitely would try, instead of doing a mass amount of money right at the front of the transaction, try to pay it out over time if you can negotiate that, of course. Try to use their money, not yours. Maybe owner financing is an option, especially if you're a young entrepreneur and don't have a ton of money, but the person really likes you and they think you should own the business. Maybe do some owner financing. I'm not sure how common that is. My strategy is going to be marketing. I'm going to put it on my website. Benevolent acquisitions. I'm your guy. You should sell to me because I'm great. And I'm going to take care of your people. Most acquisitions, all this cloak and dagger behind the scenes. Hey, you want to sell? You know, I mean, I get emails every week. We can have a confidential meeting. We can talk about how we're going to give you a lot of money and fire half your people, and you just give me your list of people you're going to save. Every week I get that. You can use brokers. I think one of you guys mentioned a broker could take your company, go put it on the open market, try to get bids, and you could give them your criteria, although all they want to do is get the highest price because that's how they're going to get paid, like a real estate agent. So you might have some problems there. Just become the expert on it. Be vocal. Use consultants maybe, or consult with other companies to say, hey, I'm interested in taking over a company. Here's how I want to do it, whatever. Just spread the word that you're interested in taking over a company, and hopefully eventually somebody that's exiting is going to call you and say, yeah, I heard you're interested. I think you're the right guy to do this, or lady. Comes down to the integration strategy. Again, that's where the rubber meets the road. You got to win the hearts and minds of the people. Be honest with them. Hopefully you get strong systems and processes. At the end of the day, you just got to keep in mind that the goal is to make their lives better. Don't do any layoffs. Again, you're going to kill the productivity of the workforce if you do layoffs. I strongly believe that. Let them know you're going to hold them accountable. Here's the new system. Here's the new thing. We need you to produce. It ain't free. But the idea is that what I would recommend doing is focusing on growth as quick as you can. Because you as entrepreneurs, especially the ones that hang around in these tech areas, know that technology is a disruptor, right? Makes human labor easier to not do because a robot can do it a lot quicker, cheaper, and more efficient. You're going to use technology in this new company that you just bought, and you've told the employees you're not laying them off. So that's a quandary. Okay, we got too many employees. Technology is a lot cheaper. How do we do this? So my recommendation would be growth. Get in there, get them up and running quick as you can, and grow it as fast as you can. Because the idea is that if you're growing, you just don't have to hire because you have the workforce. Okay, so that's how we did it. We went in there and said, we're not doing any layoffs. We're going to grow. We're going to basically don't hire anybody and just try to hang in there as long as you can until you basically have grown into the size of the company. So that's kind of how we did it. I would recommend a lot of the EO trainings we go to. They talk a lot about gamification of workplaces. Give people clear goals, clear reinforcements, how to achieve the goal, play the game. They get the gold star or the money or the experience. The new millennial generation likes to work in that environment. Let people work on their own time, not in a queue, from home, whatever. So there's all of that. So basically, I have 10 minutes left for questions. I cannot believe this. I actually timed this fairly well, and I do have a hard stop at 1. But again, I really appreciate you guys listening to this. I know it sounds weird. Hopefully it's not too weird. But I think if you consider using some of these guiding principles in running whatever business you're doing, whether it be acquisitions or just running a good company, I think just would recommend you take it to heart, because what it does let you do is sleep at night. You're doing the right thing for the right reasons and living the life you want to live. So thank you so much for having me.
Actually, the notes I'm taking are very helpful because I have a full-time business and I want to do the startup. So if I treat my startup like an acquisition, a lot of this applies.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I was hoping. I was not saying
Yeah,
big
no,
action. I was talking
very
little.
cool stuff.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
If a company's not for sale and you're interested in buying it, is that super rare, or does that happen? You approach?
No, like I said, I get emails Can't get into this too deep. In Virginia, in the field that I'm in, they know there's gonna be a lot of disruption, and they know that a lot of baby boomers run the companies, and they're looking for an out because technology is completely disrupting our field. And my mom age folks, which this time she'd probably be high 60s, she doesn't want to use a computer and digital health records, and so if the right person came in there, she would have sold even if she wasn't trying to sell. And I think that's with most people. I think you're offering them an alternative that would make their life get better, right? Because most people don't want to sell. Like, I love my employees, I love my mission, I love coming to work. Maybe they consult with you on the side. So I get offers unsolicited every day. I mean, just meaning a lot. So I would recommend if you see a restaurant you want, the owners might want to sell, even if they're young. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm focused on baby boomers because that's the biggest opportunity coming up in y'all's life for the next 15 years. So hope that answers your question. Yes, ma'am.
So, you talk about how you keep on the people of the companies that you're acquiring. So you're taking the approach of it's almost like re-education and hiring within. They are with the company still, but they might be learning new jobs, or they might be learning updated parts of their job.
Absolutely.
Or what kind of responses do you get to that? Do you have, I'm going to assume you get more both positive and negative effects.
Yes.
Some people just don't want to change, or they're not willing to do so.
That's where the corrective action process comes in.
Right.
I mean, basically, it's not all unicorns and pixie dust. It's there. We have to turn this place around.
Right.
We're committed to not lay anybody off.
Right.
That doesn't mean you can keep doing what you're doing the last 10 years. Change is going to happen.
Right.
Embrace it. I guarantee your life will be better because that's my goal. But I got this new system or process or technology that you're going to have to learn. I rolled out digital health records and Chromebooks throughout my whole company. And so all of a sudden, everybody went from paper to crud. What's a mouse? And where's the on-off switch? I mean, Mrs. Johnson's never going to use a mouse. And she has a smartphone. She drives a car. Okay. I make the underlying assumption human beings are pretty darn smart. And if given motivation, can learn just about anything. Right. Especially if given the right checklists and supports and video and hand over hand, whatever. So I go in making the assumption human beings are not idiots. We're adults. We can learn. And you use the corrective action process. If somebody says, I will not do that, well, I can't help you. That's not a layoff.
Yeah.
If you can't swing a hammer, you're not a roofer. It is still business, and nature is still in charge in capitalism. Good question, though. Yes, sir.
As you know, I just sold my business.
Yes.
I've known Chip for a while, and I just sold my business here in the last 90 days. And when you mentioned before about benevolent acquisitions, that really was what mine was, because
Yes.
Chip and I know each other very well. I could have sold my business for a lot more money to an outside buyer, but I sold it to my key associate who's been with me for 15 years. And part of the agreement that we had was that the staff would stay intact, the location would stay intact, and the clients would stay intact. And I will tell you very proudly that we lost no clients, no staff. Everybody kept their job. And it was a very important move for me to make sure that my buyer met that criteria. Because I didn't want, I didn't want my clients flopping around in the breeze and what have you. So I guess I was a benevolent
Absolutely.
seller.
You use the same strategy I'm doing. You just haven't said that's what you were doing.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to comment was on your comment earlier about capitalism. And I will tell you, I'm one of these baby boomers that Chip has been talking about. And one of the things that I have observed in working with young entrepreneurs is the creative genius, and it's wonderful. But what I would say to you is it doesn't have to be an either or, okay? I understand that the young entrepreneurs have a social context to their businesses. That's fine. But the bills have got to be paid. The staff's got to be paid. The taxes, everybody's with their hand out. And I would just tell you, as a retired entrepreneur and a business owner, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. And so what you have to do, and the questions about finding a business owner that's willing to sell their business, is to make sure that you can transfer their love of the business to your generation's ideals and concepts. And if you can do that, you can find business owners that are willing to sell their business.
That's my hope. Exactly right. So again, I really appreciate you guys having me. I hope it gave some benefit, and hopefully this content gives you the ability to improve the lives of people around you wherever you are.